back on the Boss Man Show with Austin Krell of the Painted Lions covering the Sixers. Want to talk to them about their moves coming up here with Embiid, Simmons, Doc Rivers, and Daryl Morey. Austin, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Man, Austin, I watched Daryl Morey's press conference the other day. It's kind of very interesting what he had to say. But pretty much he's saying that pretty much Tobias, Ben Simmons, and Embiid are quite happy with. They want to get better around them. Is that something you really believe to be true, or he is doing it because the press conference he didn't want to give anything away to you guys because it just happened?
Well, I think you look at Morey's track record, and it certainly shows a guy who likes to improve externally, and then any internal improvements are peripheral, marginal victories. But a lot of his improvements are made with trades.
Most definitely, and I just look at the contracts of Ben and Tobias Harris. You got to add some sweeteners in there to get people to take those contracts off, and I don't think they would garner like a star player to put on side Joel the way that he envisions. So I feel like it's kind of a negative value because you have to kind of sweeten the deal to take all that big money off the books to take those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the thing about Ben Simmons, it's just like it's so weird, is he's still 24, so he still has like years of upside left, and it's a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in 5-6 years might be willing to take a swing on that because you can sell him as somebody that can drive you to the first round of the playoffs, with obviously with the appropriate pieces there as well, but he's a guy that can help you get there, and you're going to need some other pieces to help get to the second round, but he's still 24 and he's still young, and you do have time to figure him out, and if you do figure him out, then you have yourself a top 10 player.
No doubt. And I'm gonna ask you this, man, how true is it about the rumors about him not wanting to work on his game? Because that does concern me. I don't know how true it is. I'll ask you about it because I hear those rumblings down here, but I've seen the guy make threes and warm-ups when he plays in Atlanta. I've seen him be able to shoot with Monty Williams when the year before Brett Brown got let go. I watched him make threes and warm-ups. So I tell people I've seen the guy shoot jumpers. He can make them if he wants to. This will take him during the games. So how true is what they're saying in the national media that he doesn't work hard or he doesn't work on his game much as he could?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I think number one, it's very unfair of anybody that doesn't know him to just assume that because he doesn't apply it in game that he doesn't work on it. There's clearly a mental component to all this where he is uncomfortable with his ability to perform those tasks that he practices on the court. But I think there is an element, maybe in his earlier days of his career where it was he would just shake off, any kind of criticism or any kind of constructive feedback and say, I don't have to do this. But I definitely think that he works on these things, at least more than people give him credit for doing.
Most definitely. And I'm looking at the roster, Austin. I know Danny Green's a free agent. So is Dwight Howard, Mike Scott, and those guys. And I do feel like this, Austin, that Doc Rivers playing that bench lineup as short as he did, it still caused issues with the score because the score would change when he goes to that Toby with Hill, Thibault, Maxey, or Milton with Dwight Howard. It wasn't working. The Hawks was making them eat whatever lead they got out to, they were eating it up with the lineup for how long he went with it. And so I'm just thinking about the bench play, and what's the thing I talked about Doc Rivers kind of playing like I guess in season. Like you can't really do that. You need to shorten the bench even more, in my opinion, to go against the Hawks and who are playing lights out right now.
Yeah, I mean, people want to give Doc a lot of criticism about the way he coached that series, and I think there are valid components to that for sure. But I just think he never knew, or no one ever knew, what he was going to get out of that bench. They were a wild card, and that's not how a championship contender is going to operate. You can't have a wild card bench every night as a contender. So a lot of it was just mixing and matching, trying to figure out gut feel who can give us this, who can give us that. Um, and I think you watch the Brooklyn game, game seven. They're playing Harden and Durant 47 or 52 out of the 51 out of the possible 52 minutes, and you just can't run these guys like that all night long because you're going to need them to be at their best in crunch time. And Durant came up a little short on that jumper, even though it was a tough shot. Still, like there were plays that were not made in that game seven between Brooklyn and Miami, or Brooklyn and in Milwaukee, because those guys were tired. So I think you see that. You have a center that is playing on one knee. You have you have two other star level players that are that you rely on heavily, but you want to have them at their best when the moments really count. And I just kind of think the whole like only play seven guys like that works if you have a bench that you can trust, but they they don't have that. And and I just think you need to keep your guys fresh, so you do that by trying to mix and match things and live and live as much as possible with what you can with that bench unit. And unfortunately, the bench could not give them enough to do so.
Most definitely. And I think Danny Green getting hurt, Austin really hurt.
Oh yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
that losing Danny Green, because he kind of stabilized that first unit, and he just without him, it throws off, makes everybody one man closer, and it messed up already a short bench and made it shorter to my opinion for his talent wise coming off there to kind of score and give you a punch.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Danny was phenomenal this season. I would certainly advise re-signing him for sure. Um, and I think he just provided a degree of veteran leadership and calmness that the team lacked once he went down. But I mean, you look at the Hawks off their bench, like you have Kevin Herter first couple of games, then you have Gallinari, you have Lou Will. They had a bunch of different guys off their bench that you could trust and go get you 10 or more points every night. And that was really just you look at all the different margins of victory or loss depending on the side you're doing it from. And that Gallinari gives you 17 points. The Sixers bench combined gives you 17 points. It's these are all things that it's not. The roster was not constructed that well. They had some really good pieces to complement Joel and the rest of the group, but they lacked a perimeter creator, a guy that could operate in the pick and roll, could change speeds, change directions, shoot off the dribble, and a guy that wasn't afraid of that embraced the moment like Trae Young does. And the Sixers just didn't have that. And so when Ben Simmons shut down, the push came to shove, the offense slogged against the defense in Atlanta that wasn't very good.
And Austin, Seth Curry really surprised me, man. I
Oh yeah,
mean, I hadn't really watched him all year like that, but seeing him just making, he's pretty much you guys' second primary scorer, Seth Curry, making shots off the dribble and doing it catch and shoot wise off action and ball movement. I was like, wow. So is he playing that well for you guys all year long?
he did not play that well all year long. He had a really hot start, caught COVID, and then he was out for a while. And then it kind of, he was up and down all season, but he really came into form in these playoffs. But I mean, no one thought that he would be playing the way that he played, where he's shooting 60% from three, off the dribble. I mean, in Game 5, when the Sixers blew the 26-point lead at home, and this is no knock against Seth. He had a phenomenal game and phenomenal series. But the fact that your best offense, when the ball is not in Embiid's hand, is running actions for Seth Curry to become a primary playmaker, it doesn't bode well, and anyone can see that. And if the shots are falling and you win the game, you can gloss over it. But the fact of the matter is that that's not a winning formula when Seth Curry is your next best shot creator outside of Embiid.
And I was shocked that Doc kept Steph on Kevin Herter as long as he did. I was like, can we go to Thibault or
Yeah,
somebody longer? Because I was like, he's getting killed.
Yeah, and if they had just made any kind of adjustment there, I think the Sixers would have pulled away in the third quarter and they would have won Game 7. But he didn't, and uh, it's a loss. And I said this a million times over the last week. These playoffs in the NBA are very unforgiving, and when you even the slightest error, the slightest miscalculation can be grave. And the Sixers made too many errors throughout the course of that series. They had a chance to win Game 7. They got back into the game in the third quarter, but Kevin Huerter kept the Hawks in it with the way he was just crushing Seth, and so Doc didn't do enough there.
And Austin, I've said this to Hawks fans on this show and off this show, and like I said, look, we've gotten lucky in our matchups. We're playing coaches who don't make adjustments. I'm just being real. Tom Thibodeau is stuck in his ways. It's our system. Doc the same exact way, and Coach Bud, we all know it from Atlanta, is the same exact way. It's our system. We got executed better. We're not making any adjustments. And Nate McMillan, who I thought was that way, has shown that he can make adjustments since he's been in Indiana, Seattle, and Portland now. So I'm shocked about Nate McMillan and what he's doing here, because what I knew from previously, he had a certain way he played, and that was how he played. He ain't making any adjustments either.
I gotta tell you, I love Nate McMillan. I think his interim tag should be removed immediately and his contract extended. He's been just fabulous for that Hawks team. They were 14-20 when he took over. I think they were 21st in defense. I forget what they were in offense, but they finished the season 18th in defense. So he had made improvements there, and their offense really jumped up too. And they were 14-20. He takes over, and now they're 3 wins from the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it's amazing seeing what he's done here, Austin. And I was close to Lloyd Pierce, and I hate to see him go, but I'm also happy to see us winning the way we are. So I'm glad Coach Nate's doing it, man. Well, Austin, I'll definitely be checking in with you, brother, as the Sixers make moves. I hope to talk to you again down the road, man. And I love your work, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Covering Sixers, man. And I hate my man Mike Scott will be leaving you all probably, but that's my guy, man.
Gave him 4.9 million. I don't get it, but enjoy your playoff run. It is certainly a fun run to watch. And Trae Young has put the entire league on notice. I don't think he'll miss an All-Star game for the next decade or so.
You got there right, but hey, man, you be safe, man. Enjoy Philly up there, man. Hope you guys get something going here real soon, brother.
We'll see. You take care.
All right, be good now.
Take care.